you're probably using the wrong brush every single day. In fact, some of the ones that you've bought are actually damaging your hair without you even knowing it. I've seen women use all the right products, follow the exact right routine, and then still manage to ruin their hair by picking the wrong brush for their hair type. So today, we're gonna fix that. I'm walking you through every brush and comb out there, the good, the bad, and the ones that are straight up dangerous if you don't know how to use them correctly. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which brushes to get and how to use them to unlock your hair's potential, starting with the rat tail comb. All right, we're starting with a tool that confuses a lot of my clients, the rat tail comb. I'm gonna blow your mind right off the bat because everything that you think you know about this is actually wrong. This right here is actually not a comb. Sure, it has teeth on one side, but that's not why you would ever buy this. You're buying it for the skinny tail right here. This is your secret weapon for getting those crisp, salon quality parts that make people ask, who did your hair? Most people, including inexperienced stylists, will grab this thing and try to comb through their hair with these tiny little teeth, but never do that. The teeth are only here to prep your hair before you make the part. Watch this. I'm using these little teeth to get all the hair flowing in the same direction. If your hair's going every which way, there's no way you're gonna get a clean part. It'll look messy and uneven. Once everything's flowing the same way, I come in with this rat tail and boom. You can see how straight that line is, and it's not luck. It's a technique that you can easily achieve without being great at hair. Now, if you like messy, tousled, I woke up like this hair, don't even look at this tool. This is for people who want precision, like a Kim K center part. Looks like it was drawn with a ruler. And here's a pro tip that nobody will admit to you. The sharper this tail is, the cleaner your part's gonna be. Some of these have like really thick, rounded ends. They just don't give you that straight line. You want skinny and pointy rat tails. But real talk for a second, if you're not into clean parts, skip this. Don't buy tools that you're not gonna use. Save your money for something that'll actually improve your routine, like maybe a regular comb. Whatever you do, do not run this through the mids of your hair. I repeat, do not run this through the mids. It'll get caught and rip hair out on you. These guys are actually a trap for women. Really, what it's meant is for guys because they have short hair that doesn't get tangled. But ladies, that is not you. You don't need this. The only exception is if you have a pixie cut or super short hair, then yeah, this can help you. But if you have any length at all, keep watching because we're about to get into tools that are actually designed for what you're dealing with. The first one being a wide tooth comb, and we need to have a serious talk about these because people are making a huge mistake that's doing a lot of damage to their hair. I see this everywhere and it makes me cringe every single time. Please stop using these to detangle your hair. I don't care what your aunt told you when you were 10 years old. I don't care what you saw on TikTok. I don't care if some influencer swore by it. This comb has no give, no flexibility. There's nothing soft or gentle about it at all. When it hits that tangle, it's going straight through whether your hair wants to come with it or not. And guess what happens? Your hair's gonna lose. Not that long ago, my own mother was actually using one of these to brush her hair every day. Absolutely horrifying. I'm teaching thousands of women how to take care of their hair, and I find out my own mom is torturing hers with the wrong tool. So what are these good for? The answer is styling, specifically when you want to break up some curls. If you did them too tight and you need to loosen them up, this is a good tool for doing that. But honestly, there's better options out there for you to use that do the exact same job, but better. So save your money and your hair with a detangling brush. Now, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you never style your hair. I don't care if you air dry every day and live the rest of your life in messy buns. You must, 100% must have a detangling brush. You need to use it every single day, non-negotiable. Let's start with the entry-level detangling brush, which is called a Tangle Teezer. These are like the training wheels of detangling brushes, and I mean that in the best possible way. If you look at these bristles, they're short, they're small, and they're so flexible that you literally couldn't hurt your hair if you tried. This is perfect for kids who are still learning how to brush properly, or if you rip your hair out because you don't have your technique down yet, which we'll cover in just a second. But here's the downside to this brush. These bristles are so short and small, they don't really get in there to grab the tangles and get rid of them. It's like trying to rake leaves with a fork. It works, but it's gonna take you forever. If you have really thin hair, this could be totally fine for you, but most women I know are too busy to play around with something like this, and they need something that gets the job done quickly. Something like the Unbrush, because this is kind of like your middle ground option. It's got longer bristles than the Tangle Teezer, and they're still really flexible. The unique thing about this is the bristle pattern. If you look, you can see that they're actually different lengths. That's supposed to help grab tangles at different levels within your hair, but it's actually a downside because it just means some of the bristles aren't long enough so you don't get as many tangles out in as many passes. This is a solid choice if you want something better than a Tangle Teezer, but I'm gonna be straight with you. These are way overpriced, and there's a better alternative that actually costs less, and it is called a wet brush. This is it. This is the one. If you take nothing else from this entire video, take this. Get yourself a wet brush and learn how to properly use it. There's a reason that you'll never see a professional stylist with a Tangle Teezer in their kit. It's not because they're snobby, it's because when you're doing hair all day, every day, you need tools that work efficiently and quickly.
Maybe because they're snobby too.
They might be snobs. Looking at these bristles, they're long enough to get through your hair in fewer passes, and they're flexible enough to bend whenever they hit a knot instead of ripping your hair out like a comb would. But here's the thing, and this is super important, you cannot just chuck this thing in your hair and start flailing around. There's a technique, and if you don't know it, you can get yourself in trouble. The way it works is when you detangle, you always start from the bottom of your hair, near the ends. Always. I don't care if you're in a rush, I don't care if it seems logical to start at the top, you always start from the bottom. And here's why. Let's say you have tangles scattered throughout your hair. If you start at the top, you're gonna push all those tangles down until they hit the next tangle, and then they're all gonna pile up on top of each other. And now, instead of having 5 small tangles, you've created one super tangle in the middle of your hair. It's gonna be an absolute nightmare to get through. But if you start from the bottom, you're clearing the path, you're getting rid of each tangle individually by brushing it all the way out through the ends so it's completely gone and they never pile up. And pro tip, if you're having trouble getting through a section, angle your brush like this so the bristles don't go in quite as deep, work through it gently, and then go back with the full bristles once it gets easier. And do you wanna know what the best part about wet brushes is? They're cheap. If you accidentally put an iron on it and melt it, or if the bristles start to fall out on you, you can just get a new one every 6 months. They're only like 10 bucks. And now we have the Mason Pearson. Legend of legends, the best detangling brush you could ever hope to buy. It's amazing. It's handmade in England. The bristles are perfect. It feels like you're brushing your hair with a cloud made of silk. It's also built to last literally decades. I know people who have had the same Mason Pearson brush for like 20, maybe 30 years. But I'm about to tell you why you should never, ever buy one of these. It's $275 for a brush. A brush. If anyone appreciates a good brush, it will be me. But here's the question you should be asking yourself. What makes this better than a $10 wet brush? It does detangle a little bit faster because it has more bristles and it feels a little smoother for the exact same reason, but will your hair look any different? Will people be able to tell that you used a $275 brush instead of a $10 one? The answer is absolutely not, which is why even Leslie doesn't use one of these, and she's pretty fancy.
It's because you won't give it to me.
So here's my rule. If you see one of these at a garage sale for like 20 bucks, grab it. If your rich aunt wants to buy you one for your birthday, say thank you. But if you're living in the real world where $275 is a car payment or groceries, get the wet brush and spend the difference on fewer, higher quality hair products. But there's one final thing that we need to know about detangling brushes, and it's, should you get a padded or vented detangling brush? So we have the padded brush, we have the vented brush. How do you know which one's right for you? Padded brushes have a cushioned base that gives a little when you brush your hair. It's like the difference between walking on carpet versus walking on concrete. The padding absorbs some of that tension, so it's gonna be more gentle. Vented brushes, on the other hand, have these holes that let air flow through the brush to cut down drying time. But here's the thing, you should never, ever buy a vented brush. And that is because these are terrible for blow drying because your hair is gonna be blowing all over the place. Which means if you're blow drying with one of these, you're basically air drying your hair, even if you're taking the time to use a brush thinking you're doing it right. Enter round brushes. The only brush you will ever blow dry with is a round brush. And that's because it keeps the hair straight and tight and under control. And that is what gives you that silky smooth hair by locking in the straight shape. Ceramic is the first round brush we're gonna look at. This is where the magic happens. Ceramic round brushes are what separate amateur blowouts from, did you just go to the salon? Blowouts.
I'm actually in the salon.
She's always at the salon, guys. Let me explain exactly why this is gonna change the relationship you have with your blow dry forever. See the ceramic barrel in the middle here? Here's what's actually happened when you use one of these guys. Your blow dryer heats up that core, basically creating a flat iron effect. And then when you wrap your hair around that hot ceramic barrel in the middle and pull it straight when you're blow drying, you're sealing that smooth shape into the hair cuticle. Doing that right is a major reason salon blowouts last for days. They're not just styling your hair for a second, they're restructuring the cuticle. But, and this is huge, this brush only travels one direction, and it is down. You're always gonna keep it moving down the hair shaft. Never let it back up, never let it twist. Definitely never let the hair slack. I learned this the hard way on probably the most embarrassing day of my entire career. I just started training, working on this blonde model who volunteered for me to do her hair. And her hair was kinda tangly. And somehow, I still don't even remember to this day how it happened, it was so fast. I got this thing completely stuck in the back of her head and I couldn't get it out.
Probably because you weren't going down with the brush.
Key. The person training me had to take this out of my hands. And it felt like forever before she got the brush out because I'm standing there with a red face while everybody else was looking over like, what's Chris doing? What's going on with that brush? Don't let this happen to you. If you keep tension and keep moving down the entire time, it'll never happen. All right, let's talk size for just a second because that matters a lot too. Bigger barrels are gonna give you softer, looser curls, while smaller barrels are gonna give you tighter, more defined curls. So it's really just a preference thing. If you're not sure where to start, most people do well with like a medium-sized brush. 1.5 inches is usually fine, but if your hair tends to tangle a lot, you can go a little bigger and that tends to help. And here's something nobody tells you, you don't need the most expensive ones. Olivia Garden is a great brand for beginners. Just make sure you never get one of these with like the antenna, things with round ends. Those are terrible. Another quick note, do not use the ones you see me using in videos because they are not friendly for beginners at all. Unlike our next brush, the boar bristle brush. I'm about to burst some bubbles here and make people angry because there's a lot of mythology around these things. First off, yes, these bristles actually do come from a boar at some point. Don't worry, they don't hurt the pigs, they just give them like a little haircut. The story everyone tells you is that the boar bristles are magical because they're natural and they distribute your scalp oils down the length of your hair, so it creates this amazing shine. But here's the problem with that fairy tale. It's based on hair routines from like 1860, back when people didn't have indoor plumbing and they didn't wash their hair, so they brushed it like 100 strokes per day to move the oil around. And that was the only way they could get their hair shiny. But you don't live in 1860, and I'm pretty sure that you actually do have running water and you do wash your hair. That's why there's no oil to actually distribute. The truth is, if you want shine from a brush, ceramic brushes give you way more because the barrels heat up with your blow dryer and they seal the cuticle, where boar bristle brushes are wood in the middle. And it doesn't really heat up, doesn't get hot, doesn't smooth your hair. Save your money, don't buy boar bristle. Up next is a smoothing brush. And here we have something very special that you don't see very often. This is from my private collection of old hair tools. I don't want to tell you how much I spent on it, but it was over $1,000. And this is a smoothing brush. It's kind of like the finishing touch of the brush world. This is what you use if your hair is already styled and you just need to polish it up. If you look at how close these bristles are packed together and completely flat, it means that it's not meant to go through your hair. They're designed to just polish and smooth the top layer when you have your hair in like an updo style or something where you want to get rid of any flyaways or smooth out any pieces that didn't cooperate. These have big history because they were used back in the day by like nobility and royalty and people like that. If you've got money and you want that extra level of polish, then you can consider this. But if you're still building your basic brush collection, skip this, focus on the essentials such as a teasing brush. These are for teasing or backcombing hair. And if you're not familiar with those terms, it means that you're literally creating a controlled rat's nest underneath your hair to prop up the hair on top of it and give volume. It's kind of like scaffolding, and this little brush with these tiny dense bristles are designed specifically to create a tangled base, which sounds terrible, but gives volume without destroying your hair. You're gonna take a small section and hold it up straight and then gently brush backwards towards your scalp. You're not trying to rip through, you're just trying to tangle it enough to create a nice cushioned effect. That way, when you put hair on top of that tangled, teased section, it makes the whole look more full and have more volume. It's actually a kind of cool technique when you do it right. But here's what you need to know. You are creating knots on your hair on purpose. And if you don't know how to get these knots out properly, you can end up with some real damage. You have to be gentle in getting the knots out, and really, this is just for special occasions. If you do this every day, it can cause a lot of wear and tear on your hair. Also, when your hair is teased, you can't run your fingers through it. You're not doing all this kind of stuff, moving it around. You style it, keep it there, leave it alone until you're ready to take it out. Personally, I prefer getting volume from blow drying because it's way easier and it's less damaging. But if you really want volume, like a dramatic editorial level of volume for special occasions, this is how you get it. Just be smart about it. Let's talk about blow dry brushes, because if you weren't able to master the whole brush in one hand, blow dryer in the other coordination thing, blow dry brushes are about to change your life. These things have made at-home styling so much easier. I honestly think that the world is a better place because someone invented these. The only thing is, you have to understand how to use them safely, because if you don't know just a few basics, you'll absolutely torture your hair, and you hear a lot of bad stories about these. I want to remind you that these are called blow dry brushes. They're for drying hair. If you use them on hair that is already dry, you risk doing a lot of damage. It's almost like putting your clothes back in the dryer and running it for hours and hours after they're already dry. When you're using one of these on wet hair, you're going to feel it, and when it's dry, you are done. Move on to the next step instead of going over it again and again like most people do. I know I'm saying this a lot, but people do this.
And then they're like, why is my hair so hot?
Because it's already dry. Stop doing that. Second, you must use a heat protectant with this. Any good blow dry cream will already have that automatically built in. And then third, you wanna make sure to give your hair 3 days of rest before you use this again, or any type of heat again. If you follow those 3 rules, you can use this completely safely, and it'll make your life so much better. The one I'm holding now is the Revlon One Step. Basically, this is the tool that started the blow dry revolution. This is your budget-friendly $40, $50 entry point. For a lot of people, this is all you need. It's got this oval paddle shape with a mix of bristles, some plastic pins for grip, and some softer bristles for smoothing. The heat settings are super basic, and honestly, that's all you need. The one thing that you need to understand about this is it's really made for people with fine or medium hair. If you have coarse hair like Leslie, it's really thick, really curly, really frizzy. this doesn't really have enough power to smooth everything out and get it silky smooth. But for $40 to $50, this is a super solid choice. It's not gonna be quite as good as if you learn doing the brush and blow dryer separate, because that's the best, but it's pretty close. Now, if you're looking for something that's a little higher quality, do not, I repeat, do not buy the Dyson Airwrap. It's literally worse than this cheap guy is. And this is where a ton of people are gonna jump in the comments, I love my Dyson's the best. They spent $700 on it. They have to psychologically feel good about that, so they're automatically gonna like it just because they paid that much. But it's not good. If you want something with more performance than this, get the Amika Double Agent or the T3 Airbrush Duo. Those are the way to go. All right, now that you've got the perfect brushes, you may want to pair them with the perfect products for your hair. If so, check out my recommended product list in the description. It even has a hair type quiz to walk you through everything. Hint, start with the healthy hair cocktail for your hair type. Stay safe out there, Rebels. Have a good one.